Question DS. Is A smaller than A times B, which is smaller than B? Condition 1. A is smaller than B. Condition 2. 0 is smaller than A, which is smaller than 1, which is smaller than B. Solution. Let's solve this DS question using the variable approach. Cross cases. Both negative and positive numbers. Be careful of the reciprocal. Always be careful when dealing with negative numbers, including cross-multiplication cases, which are related differently to positive numbers and negative numbers. If we are given that A is greater than B, then 1 over A is smaller than 1 over B will not be true when A is greater than 0 and B is smaller than 0. However, if A is greater than B, which is greater than 0, or 0 is greater than A, which is greater than B, then 1 over A is smaller than 1 over B will be true. The first property of inequality. Multiplying or dividing an inequality by a positive number does not change the direction of the inequality sign. Positive rule in inequality. That is, if A is greater than B, then A times X is greater than B times X, and A over X is greater than B over X, where X is greater than 0. Let us follow the first step of the variable approach by modifying and rechecking the original condition and the question. We are required to verify whether A is smaller than A times B, which is smaller than B. Follow the second and the third steps. From the original condition, we have two variables, A and B. To match the number of variables with the number of equations, we need two equations. Since conditions 1 and 2 will provide one equation each, C would most likely be the answer. Condition 2 tells us that 0 is smaller than A, which is smaller than 1, which is smaller than B. We can extract two equations from condition 2. B is greater than 1 and A is smaller than 1. Also notice that both A and B are positive numbers since they are both greater than 0. Now we can multiply B is greater than 1 by the positive quantity A to get A times B is greater than A by the first property of inequality. Also, we can multiply A is smaller than 1 by the positive quantity B to get A times B is smaller than B by the first property of inequality. Combining A times B is greater than A, or A is smaller than A times B, and A times B is smaller than B, we get A is smaller than A times B, which is smaller than B, which is the question asked. Thus, the answer to the question, is A smaller than A times B, which is smaller than B, is a unique yes. So the condition is sufficient according to CMT1, which states that the answer will be in terms of a unique yes or no. It is sufficient because two equations are required from the original condition, and condition 2 does have two equations. Condition 1 tells us that A is greater than B. However, we do not know anything about the signs of A and B. If B is equal to 3 and A equals 0.5, then A times B equals 1.5, and hence A equals 0.5, which is smaller than A times B, which equals 1.5, is smaller than B, which equals 3. Thus, the answer to the question, is A smaller than A times B, which is smaller than B, is yes. However, if B equals 3 and A equals negative 3, then A times B equals negative 9 and A equals negative 3, which is greater than A times B, which equals negative 9. Thus, the answer to the question, is A smaller than A times B, which is smaller than B, is no. We cannot have both yes and no as the answer. Therefore, condition 1 is not sufficient according to CMT1, which states that if you get both yes and no as the answer, it is not sufficient. Condition 2 alone is sufficient. Thus, B is the correct answer. Answer B.